Hey everyone, I am back. My name is Michelle Vineker. For those who don't know me, I'm an autistic self-advocate and a blogger of my own blog website, The World of Autism. I brought back one of our well-known autistic advocates, Sara Bradford. How are we doing today?
That was applause, applause. I'm just kidding. Great. How are you doing? Thank you so much, Michelle. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. And I appreciate just coming back on to catch up.
Oh, absolutely. I thought we'd catch up about like all the things that have up all the things that have gone on and stuff because I know you've been doing a lot of advocacy work in regards to for the community. So I thought it'd be cool for you to share that with the
Mm.
audience.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it really has been like a whirlwind of so much excitement and opportunities and relationships, connections, it's like we'll get into it in a minute, but the event that we just had was almost like a family reunion for me. It felt so warm and loving, and people have just reached out from all over and said the same thing. Like that was one of the most impacting, like heartfelt, spaces of time that I've ever been to. So I'm so honored that that was something that came out of an idea out of my home office. Like how did these things happen?
I know it was crazy, and you've been hosting. That was like this was the second year in a row for that.
Second year in a row. I had an in between autism safety summit in between the two kind of like main summits. But yeah, I think that building this experience, bringing all these amazing stories and voices, and I'm hoping next year to possibly incorporate some non-speaking individuals and like really cover the entire basis of what we can, and maybe some more sibling that can really show that relationship between the siblings. I think that is like a beautiful, beautiful expression of love that is shared in our communities. And so much time, siblings will take that responsibility when they get older and create their own advocacy and work just to. And I love that. I love that it doesn't it's not like an individual journey. This is like a family journey, a team journey, like a journey with other friends that we can go on this together. And so grateful for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've actually have done this on my guest series here. Like I that's what my blog website has become all about. It's not just like about with having autistic self-advocates and everyone. It's pretty much like a whole team. Like I've had like also with parents to siblings to professionals, teachers, like that's what it's all about, really. That's how we
Isn't
learn from each other and everything.
And we should keep doing that so much too, is really bringing every part of the community together, because with that we can make so many big changes in the world and in our own local communities. And it's kind of funny, I was joking with somebody the other day that I feel like I have like a global family, and then in my local community not much. And that's kind of sad, and like I want to make that different. I want to get out more and make more of a difference in my local community with other, programs and things. And so later on I will tell you the big news behind that and how I'll try to get that going in my life.
Right, right. I know for me with my own local community, just alone for me, like my full-time job being a behavior specialist and everything, like I'm working
Yeah,
alongside
okay.
like with schools, teachers, students, like I actually just did earlier a professional development training for a high school for their special ed department, like pretty much going over like basic strategies that could be used in the classroom and
Yeah.
like really the key thing with like building relationships, how important that is. Like that's the first big step. And
Isn't it?
I know how when it comes to that, that's where we all can make such a big difference.
Yeah, I do have the opportunity last year and this year again to speak at an after school, um, like it's the Utah after school program that covers the whole state, and
Mhm.
they have a big conference. So I will have an opportunity to have a wonderful presentation called the IM Project, which is about um, both sides, helping teachers understand better strategies and language and all of perspectives and things for neurodiversity and inclusion in their classrooms and with their students, and also for the students themselves, kind of like an affirmation program mixed in with um real life like role playing games or activities that really incorporate what it might be like to have Down syndrome and what it might be like to talk with something that blocks the passageway of your mouth, and like how difficult that would be, and really learning like as a person what other people go through so that we can create that empathy within them as well. So I'm really excited about that, and hopefully maybe I could try getting that into some other schools and things like that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I know it was going back to all the summit events that have happened. I still think about from the safety summit. That was last year. It was the same exact day as my graduation. I was like
Yes, that's right. And I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on that. That's just so amazing that you accomplished, and you're just such an inspiring person, and you just keep putting out this amazing content for people. And I love that we made this connection and we've just been friends and been able to see each other grow and include each other in all of the things, which is
yeah.
even better. And the summits are amazing in the sense that I it's I think that other people do this just as well, but I have this maybe ability to see what how somebody can show up the best they can be.
Mhm.
And I just like want to shine a spotlight on them and like, help them boost them up. I don't know. And not that like I'm I say that with all humbleness and like no kind, anything, but
Yeah.
I love that because of the podcast and the children's books and the platform and the communities, now I'm able to do something impacting for the whole community in bringing people from around the nation. From, next year in April, I'll be doing an international autism summit where we're going to have international advocates. And how cool would that be to hear from them and see what's going on in Australia, what's going on in India, what's going on in Asia, and really kind of just wrap our minds around how we can support one another on that big of a scale. Because it isn't just in your family, in your school, in your hometown, in your state, in your country. It is worldwide. And
Yeah.
bless my son's genius mind for telling me, that there's 186 million autistics in the world. He did a little research for me.
Wow.
Which is like 1 in 43 people globally. And so I think that that's really important to understand. We as females also
Yep.
understand how underdiagnosed and misdiagnosed so many people are, so many other females, so many other cultures, kind of that. And unfortunately, until it's caught up with itself, which I don't know what that means or anything, that's we're just going to keep learning and learning, and hopefully we can keep shifting that perspective of. Oh, my cat just turned my light out. Sorry about that. Well, hopefully we can change that perspective of what autism really looks like in our community and for the children and adults that are in this era we're living in.
Oh, absolutely. And just the fact that about how just from an international scale that different countries like their resources is so different too.
Yeah.
So I just from you mentioning about like hosting with the international summit that it'd be really great to hear from autistic people from other countries because the resources are different. And
Yeah.
everybody could be sharing ideas that could be brought to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not only that, but connections with one another, connections which then bring resources and opportunities that is life changing for people. And I mean, I didn't even mean to do this. Like, it wasn't my first or real intent, but it just happened along the way. But what a amazing way to celebrate all of us as friends and as a community and coming together, supporting one another, and so many different facets too, because I loved the music performer, Lady Star Beast that we had on this last event. She was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I keep listening to her because it just like the songs repeat, but it's so exciting to bring new faces um and people who are really just building their advocacy in the community and want to share because that's what we want to do. We want people to want to share, because that's where we're going to learn all of these support systems and strategies, like you said, to really make a difference in some families' lives and others. I,
Oh, absolutely. I I could even say that for myself. Like I when I shared my story online for the first time at like 16 years old, it changed my life forever because I like there was to the point that like I first shared my story for an autism organization online. It got published and stuff, and ever since then, um my junior year of high school, the fall of my junior year of high school, that the organization like contacted my dad via email saying about with a so they were trying to look for autistic people to be in a campaign commercial, and I got brought up because of my story. And so ever since then, it's like I got kind of that's where I got recognized in my high school and everything, and got brought up for a eventually got brought up for a keynote speaking. That's where the very ever since then, like getting the opportunity to do my first keynote speech for a leadership conference for people with disabilities in high school. So I tell you, that's why it's so important to share your stories. Like, don't be afraid to, because like people want to know and like learn from you. And so that
yeah,
was from my own journey and everything. So
I love
that's my message with that.
right. I had a reading. This is kind of out there. I don't know why I thought of it, but I had a reading specialist on the show once, and I was telling him, yeah, I have these children's books. I have other ones written, and he said, Sarah, it is your duty. It is your duty to the world to get those books out. People need those. They need people to show up and tell their stories, and it just reminded me of exactly what you just said. Like, the more we show up with our stories, um, the lessons we've learned, the takeaways, the good and the bad, the more we can help other people that are like, wow, that's relatable. I'm going through that too. I belong to some amazing groups on Facebook, and there's often times that I reach out with, oh my gosh, does anyone else going through this? Because it'd be great to know that I wasn't doing this alone. And oftentimes it is, and people, really show up for one another. And not only that, but offer resources, which is what makes it tangible and not just fluff, if you will.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what
Yeah.
you mean. So I wanted to ask about like how everything's been going with your podcast and everything.
Oh gosh, it is amazing. I mean, I think I'm 220 episodes in the last 2.5 years, maybe. So that's
Wow.
I know, and I have about 25 episodes still in my queue that I need to edit and produce. So I'm trying to catch up but I still don't stop doing interviews, which never really catches me up. It only puts me further behind. But I just have this, it's so nice to uh, communicate with people when you're a stay-at-home mom. And I don't get out of the house often. And this is such a beautiful way for me to share my knowledge, to get knowledge and learn from other people, which most of the time that's what I'm doing on my show. I feel like I learned so much from each individual that comes on. Even if I have them on twice, I still learn something new from them the next time. And it's always this, okay, well, how can I incorporate this or change this so that it fits better or maybe doesn't, maybe what do I take away that isn't working anymore that I can learn from. And I think it's this constant movement of um just not giving up, like you said, and showing up for it. There's a couple times where there's been, tragedies and things in my life that have happened, and there's been a week or so that goes by that I can't work on the podcast, but
Yeah.
at the same time, everyone, especially, my listeners and the followers that I have are the most amazing, beautiful people, and everyone is just kind, and it's always an outpouring of love. And I can't even imagine what it would be like had I have not just taken that one tiny step to start a Facebook group, or whatever the little things that just led me on this path to get here. And now, like you said, now it's going into international play, it's like unbelievable. And but there's still so much to be done. There's so much to be done. There is like so much time to be still worked. And, hopefully we really can start to get on some, my heart radio stations or something like that, where I can really get a bigger audience and help, just bring the information to all the people that need it. And that's the hardest part, as you probably well know, is
Mhm.
that really finding new audiences all the time. Because I
Yeah.
love my listeners. I love my people that follow me, but I also want to always engage new people. So it's challenging to understand how to do that. And especially, I'm in my mid life and not in, my 20s where everyone's young and has all this energy to do all this social media. And I'm trying to catch up or keep up with it all as I can. And I don't think I post as much like on Instagram and TikTok as frequently as others, or, but I try to still like keep my things relevant. So I guess that's the best you can do until I can hire staff to do this for me.
Honestly, that's pretty much how I do. Like I try to just stay relevant. Like it's sometimes it's not always good to post too much information,
Yeah.
but just like enough that like you're there. That's
Yeah.
how I do it.
And with the summit, I do have to say that people were probably like, "Oh my gosh, she's talking about it again." But at the same time, that's the way that like when you're working on your own and you have to just be a hustler, if you will.
Oh
And you
yeah.
have to know when you have to put the time in. And there's often times where I'm working first thing in the morning till I go to bed. And my husband doesn't love that. He's like, you're you're doing this for free. But at the same time, this isn't ultimately, this entire thing that I'm growing isn't, it's valuable. It has so much value,
Yeah.
and it's creating more than just something for me. It's creating something for so many people along the way. And I couldn't be more happy for that. Like that brings me so much joy to know. It makes me feel like a good neighbor. I love to be a good neighbor. I wave at all the people in my neighborhood, and it makes me feel the same way online. When people are like, "Oh, we're so glad that you're posting your I haven't done my daily quotes in like 8 months, and I feel like I need to get back at it because I think that it kind of gave me, like, a really great feeling every day and, like, a goal. And then I just was like, "Maybe I'm just overdoing it," and so I stopped. That imposter syndrome sneaks up and gets you
Uh,
sometimes and kinda tells you, "Hey, you're not doing it right, or you're not good enough for this, or you need to back away," or whatever. And so, I think even when you have, v visually, people think everything is amazing going on, there's still, like, real life things going on that are up and down all the time. So, my chaotic life is really what it is.
it's just I honestly would say that that's also a great message too, of like just what you're doing what you can, and know that that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And if the way I show up in the world is good and valuable for other people to have a little bit of, feel connected or feel safe to share their story with. I mean, that's so special. When you can provide a space for people to feel safe with you, I don't think that there's a better thing that you could be known for in the world. So, and kudos to you too. It goes the same way. Like, you
Yeah.
create this safe space for people, and it's just so, like, emotional, but at the same time professional, and you're just doing this mix of how can I really help people, and then it's also helping me, in the end. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I say this for myself
Sure.
too, that like from my point, like I actually for me work multiple jobs, but I still do this because I want to be able to make a safe space for people to share their stories, like making sure that that everybody's voice is heard. And I think that's a great way to wrap up with this guest recording and everything, because I think the message for everybody is to know that that your voice matters, and that we have a space for you to be able to share what you want to share. So Sarah, I want to thank you so much for coming back
Oh,
on and everything.
thanks.
I definitely loved doing this with you, and being on your summits and everything. Like, definitely keep those going.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll plan on changing that. And I will sneak in a little that I do have some big plans coming. I'm starting a nonprofit, and I'm so excited to share with everybody what we're going to be doing in the world. So, yes,
That's so
I'm just
exciting.
it's all in the works. And yeah, and it was because of this last summit that I was able to file and everything, and take care of all of the fees and such. So it's like everyone that came and supported, all everything is going towards a bigger purpose. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just go check me out at sjchilds.org if you want more information about books, podcast, or anything about me.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to that's going to be attached as with every guest podcast that I do. I always attach a little mini blog story with it. So
You're so good.
don't forget for everyone to make sure you follow Sarah, and also make
Thank
sure that you
you.
follow me as my professional brand as Exceptional Shell at Self Advocate MV. You can follow me on all social media platforms, and don't forget to also follow the World of Autism, where you see more great content of blog stories and also guest podcasts like this. So thank
Thank
you.
you, Michelle.